and who you think they should take at number 5, Alex. I'm very curious, but I have a feeling who it could be, but I'll let you say it.
Listen, Andrew, I will reiterate this, and I'm going to be looking directly at the camera, and I'm going to be saying it again. Matvei Michkov, I will personally come get you from Russia, bring you home, because it's time that the Montreal Canadiens have a superstar offensive talent. I don't want to see us picking any defender. We have lots of them. We can trade for one. That's fine. But what you're getting here is literally the Russian Bedard. And I cannot stress this enough. If you look at his stats and if you look at everything that he's done throughout his career, you would look at him and you would look at Ovechkin as a rookie and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And you might even say that Michkov is outperforming him. So now for it to become a discussion about, oh, but what about Russia? Well, you know what? There hasn't been a single Russian player in the history of the NHL. This even includes during, the wars in the past, that has ever refused to come to play in the NHL. So I don't know why particularly people are in a fuss about it now. I get that it's a different circumstance, but you could just not pass up on Matvei Michkov. Like I would sincerely be shocked if they passed on him, and if they did, I would be disappointed. I won't lie.
Okay, so very much so the case in terms of who you think they should pick. You're sold.
Like to the point where I think that he might be gone even before our pick. And that
Mhm.
might actually disappoint me even more. Like if we manage to get a guy of his caliber at 5, it's like we got really lucky. So if we're to, go outside of that and go for something safer, like the Canadians have played it safe for 30 years now. We're good. Like if this one draft pick goes bad, like I said, no one can ever blame Kent Hughes for making that pick, in my opinion. I would never blame him for it because it was very high risk, but it's also very high reward. Well, actually, I don't even view it as high risk. That's my issue. I don't view it as such high of a risk. But I'd like to think that they know what's going on. Babrov was a scout, I think, or his father is a scout with the CSK, with the team that Michkov works with.
Yes.
So I'd like to think that he'll have as much information as possible. And if they don't pick him, there's probably a good reason for it. But if I end up seeing Michkov end up playing for another team in 3 years down the line, well, I'm going to point the finger and say, well, you guys didn't really know when you should have. So,
Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's really, really interesting right now because we haven't had the opportunity to drop, and it's amazing because this is the 5th round pick or 5th overall pick we're talking about, and he might be available. So, do you think there's any chance? I mean, I was talking with my pal Shane last week about San Jose picking at number 4, and he thinks that they, based on where they're at in their rebuild, they haven't fully committed to it yet, but they could be the team to take Michkov at number 4 because we feel like we feel like it's going to go Bedard, Fantilli, and either Carlson or Will Smith for the top 3. So who do you think the biggest variable is? Is it Columbus or is it San Jose to take Michkov?
well, a lot of people are saying it's San Jose. And you know what? It helps us in the sense that we don't have to make that choice anymore. And I would personally be very happy with Will Smith or Leo Carlson, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I tend to view Michkov as, I think if there were no issues with Russia, I think this guy would be going 3rd. And I think that Columbus would make a point of picking him at 3rd. But I think that because they want to play it safer and they have the choice to pick amongst 3 other great talents, they're not going to pick Michkov. San Jose, they might think about it because when it'll come down to it, I think they might think to themselves like, how could we pass up on it? And I'm sure the Canadiens will think the same thing too, and hopefully they will.
This draft is a big one for us as Habs fans in knowing who we're going to take. And you know what? When it comes to your Michkov, desire to see him in Montreal, one of the only things that has me encouraged that it very well could happen is that we've already seen the boldness from Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton to go against the grain and take Uri Slavkovsky, for example, even though maybe he still is going to be the best player regardless, and it still was the right pick. I don't think most fans were still expecting it, though. So do you think that kind of gives you a hint that they aren't afraid if they feel it's best to pick Michkov.
Listen, everything I've read so far, and this has even been since, since the end of the season, has indicated to me that they're not willing to make that pick, or that they're not interested in drafting any Russian. And maybe they're doing it on good information. But I'd like to think that when they get on that draft floor and they see him still available, I'd like to think that there's going to be a light that goes on and they're going to say, there's no way. Like, there's no way that we leave this guy go to, Arizona. There's no way. Like, it has to be us. It has to be us to do it. And I think it's going to be. I think the Canadians won't know who they're picking until the last day, just like they did last time. But
Mhm.
I feel like they last time around they kind of knew, but they just didn't want to say it.
Of
They
course.
all were very comfortable with like their pick, but they just didn't want to say it because they didn't want to start a frenzy. You know,
Yeah,
so
because what was out there, as far as we knew, is that their indications are that they're going to take Shane Wright, and they very much didn't. So, and
no,
and three other teams didn't.
I was sincerely like once I saw that they never really made a huge comment about like who they were picking, I just knew for a fact they were going to pick Slavkovsky. I just knew it. Like, there's no way that they're going to keep a lid on all this just to like go with the pick that we already thought they were going to pick. Like, I always knew that there was going to be something else going on. So, but
Well,
yeah, let's hope that this year like at the end of the day, I'm not a draft specialist. You're not a draft specialist. We're
mhm,
guys that watch hockey and we think we know hockey and we know all the politics around it. So we give the
true.
benefit of the doubt for sure, and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt with Slavkovsky too. Um, but eventually, 3 4 years down the line, we'll have our answers. So I think that'll tell us a lot about how our rebuild is going. Like right now, we're in like a fun phase. You know, everything's good. Things are happening. They're making moves. Um, but I think like 4 or 5 years down the line, and the Canadians haven't made the playoffs. Let's say I think you'll see the expectations come down on them, and I think they know that too.